Hey guys, it's Emily of Planned and Planted from the Archer and Olive Ambassador team here today with another video for you guys. Today I'm going to be walking you through how I set up a swatch journal, and I'm going to be swatching all of my Archer and Olive Calliograph pens so that you guys can kind of see what those colors look like and how I set this journal up. So for supplies, I'm going to be using this B5 dot grid journal from Archer and Olive, and then I'm also going to be using some of these alphabet stamps that they just released in their everyday collection. I'm also going to be using some washi tapes. These ones that I'm using are from the summer 2023 collection, but really any washi tapes you want to use are fine. I'm using a few leftover stickers that I have from Archer and Olive, just some little floral elements that I would like to use up. Then of course you're going to need whatever pens you're swatching. I'm using my Archer and Olive Calliographs. As you can see, I have quite a few here. I'm also going to be using a regular fine line pen to write in the names of these swatches, and these scissors from Archer and Olive to make the Dutch door for my swatch spreads. So first things first, we're going to be setting up a cover page since this is a brand new journal for me. I like having a cover page at the start of all of my journals because I do have quite a few, and this just kind of helps me remember which journal is which. I'm using the wide end tip of the Calliographs to letter in the word swatch. If you haven't used Calliographs before, there are two tip ends. One of them is a little bit wider and the other one is much finer, and I just love using these for lettering. Then I'm taking the alphabet steps and putting in the word journal right underneath that. Now I'm erasing some of the sketch marks I made, and then I'm going to take this orangey floral washi tape that really matches this orange color, part of the Retro Road collection, and just kind of adding in where I want to. I can't really explain why I'm making these choices because it's just part of the creative process. And then I'm using a straight edge to add in a border, just like a fine line border around the edges of the page. I'm not getting too complicated with this cover page, so now that I have like the base structure of what I want done, I am taking some of those stickers and just adding them in on the top left and bottom right corner just to kind of add in a little pizzazz. I'm not a great illustrator, so I love using stickers, and I am especially a sucker for floral stickers, so I'm all about all of the stickers that Archer and Olive makes, because if you haven't used them before, most of them have these little floral elements in them. Again, not a whole lot of logic going behind these decisions of where I'm putting stickers, just going with my gut and following the creative line wherever it takes me. Now that I'm done with the cover page, we're going on to the next page to actually set up the swatches, and I'm going to be using a Dutch door spread for this, so I'm cutting out the top part of this right page with my scissors and just kind of removing this top part where my title is going to be. Going back in with my alphabet stamps to add in Archer and Olive, and then I'm using the Calliographs again to write the word Calliograph, and again I'm using the wide tip end of the marker to letter this in. Then I'm adding back in that same washi tape on either side of this just to fill in some of the blank space. So I'm structuring all of these swatches the same way. I'm putting the title of the particular Calliograph collection on the top with alphabet stamps, and then to swatch them, I am using a little squiggly line for each side of the tip just to kind of get an idea of how wide that tip can go and how, skinny it can be depending on the pressure. And then I use my gel ink pen to write in the title of the marker below, because all of the Archer and Olive Calliographs do have their names on them. And most, if not all, of the Calliographs come in collections of either 5 or 10. So for the ones that come in collections of 5, I'm dividing the page into thirds, because you can fit 3 and then 5 for each row. And then for the ones that have collections of 10, like you'll see on the other side, I just kind of divide the page in half horizontally. I also want to say for these swatches that I'm using these little squiggly marks because that's just what I prefer, but I see people use all kinds of symbols and shapes for swatches. You could just do a plain square that you color in, or you could do a word that you write out in the actual color. There's a whole slew of options that you have. This is just personally what I prefer to do, and I think it looks the most pleasing when I'm going through to look for colors to match certain spreads. So like I said before, now that I'm getting to my collections of 10, I'm dividing the page in half for each collection versus a third, and in each half I have 2 columns of 5 for each of the colors within that collection. If you guys are anything like me, like a stationery and journal nerd, you probably have a huge collection of pens. And I've honestly been having this on my to-do list to set up a swatch journal for so long because when I sit down to make a spread, I usually have some sort of color palette in mind, but I always have random pages in the backs of my journal where I'm like swatching different pens, trying to find just the right color combination, and it's kind of wasteful. So I was like, I need to just set up a swatch journal where I can swatch all of my pens, like the Calliographs, my paint pens, my gel pens, my brush pens, so that when I am starting out a spread, I can just go through and see what the color looks like on the page already and what goes with which. And with these, that's kind of why I have the names on here, because if I find a color that I want to use for a spread, then I can immediately know which one to grab. And the structure for these Calliographs swatches is not going to be the same structure I use for all of my swatches. This is just kind of what I am doing for right now, but you might have to switch it up just a little bit for if you're doing just like some gel pens or different kinds of pens that are wider. So just keep that in mind when you're making your swatch journal. And now we're flipping to the back side of this Dutch door spread to do my final collection. And this is kind of why I wanted to do the Dutch door, because I knew that I have enough Calliographs that I wasn't going to be able to fit all of the swatches on like a full spread, like the 2 pages. So I was like, let me do a Dutch door so that I don't have to do the title twice, and that way I will also have extra space for new Calliographs, because I can assure you I will be buying more. So this way I have some space to grow and I don't have to make a whole new space. I can just keep them all in one collection for now until I run out of space there, I guess. Another thing that I really like about this swatch journal is that once I have the base structure laid out, it's really like calming and therapeutic to just like do all of these little squiggles and write it down. Like, it's just kind of mindless. You can get lost doing it while you're listening to like an audiobook or some music or TV. It's just really calming. I'm finished with my last swatch now, so now we're just gonna flip back to that cover page and see what everything looks like put together. Make sure to check out the accompanying blog post over at Archer and Olive. We'll put the link in the description, but I have links for all of my supplies in there and more details about how I put this together. Thanks, guys.